languages to learn. That's what they say. Okay. We'll start with the bones of the skull. This is known as the frontal bone. Frontal bone. This right here, we have two. It's known as this is the temporal bone. Temporal. Frontal, temporal, and then this right here, right over here, is known as the parietal bone. We have two, one on each side. And then the one in the back is the occipital bone. Got it? Mm-hmm. Good. Frontal, temporal. All right, this is the nasal bone right here. This is the easy one. Nasal bone. Nasal. This right over here is called the zygomatic bone, also known as your cheekbone. Zygomatic. I got one on each side. This right here is known as the maxilla, also known as your upper jaw. This is the mandible, also known as your lower jaw. With that said, I have sutures in the skull. You see these sutures? Sutures are immovable joints. They're joints that don't move. You know how babies have like soft spots and stuff like that? These, when they ossify and they harden, they're called sutures, right? We got to know them by name. The suture that goes this way across is called the coronal suture. Everybody see this? Coronal. The one that goes this way is called the sagittal suture. The one in the back, where the occipital bone is known as the lambdoid suture. And then the one where the temporal bone is, you can see it better here, this is called the squamous or squamous suture. Coronal, sagittal, squamous, and lambdoid. Make sure you know them. Sutures. Very, very good. Let's go back here. Number one. This right here is called the clavicle, also known as your collarbone. Most commonly fractured bone in the body. Clavicle. This right here is known as the sternum. It's made up of three fused bones. The manubrium, the body of the sternum, and the xiphoid process. You gotta know that. So this sternum, this is the manubrium, this is the body of the sternum, and this is the xiphoid process. This is your rib cage. You guys see this? This entire thing is your rib cage. You gotta break it down. The first 7 pairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are called true ribs. They're called true because they attach directly to the sternum. Any questions about that? Very good. The next 5 pairs are called false, of which rib number 11 and 12 are called floating ribs. They're floating because they don't attach to anything in the front. Now check this out. Ribs 8, 9, and 10. You see these? Rib 8, 9, and 10, also known as false ribs. They attach to the 7th rib, the 7th costal cartilage. So ribs 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are called false, but 11 and 12 is also known as floating. So you could say false and floating. So we have 12 pairs of ribs. That means we have a total of how many? 24. Very good. Watch here. This right here is known as the scapula, also known as your shoulder blade. You guys see this shoulder blade? We got to break this entire column down. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are called cervical. C1 through C7, known as cervical. C1 is known as atlas, and C2 is known as axis. The next 12 are known as thoracic, T1 through T12. How many pairs of ribs do we have? 12 pairs. So 12 pairs. So all 12 pairs of ribs articulate with the 12 thoracic vertebrae. See from the back? Okay? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lower ones are called lumbar, L1 through L5. This is 5 fused sacrums. This is known as the sacrum. It's 5 vertebrae that are fused together. When you're pregnant, they are separated. By the time the baby's born, they fuse. Isn't that amazing? And the same thing with the tailbone. 3 to 5 fused coccyx. This is known as the coccyx. Some people, you can see 3, 4, 5, they're 3 to 5 fused. Same thing. When mom is pregnant, they're separate. By the time the baby's born, they are fused. Yeah, they're fused. Okay, so let's break it down again. First 7 are cervical. The next 12 are thoracic. The lower 5 are lumbar. The sacrum is 5 fused. 3 to 5 fused. Coccyx. C-O-C-C-Y-X. I have breakfast at 7. I have lunch at 12.
And dinner at 5, baby.
There you go. I never knew anatomy could be so exciting. What happened? Is that what you guys saw before, or like?
She probably has a few.
Oh, sorry. It's exciting, right? Yeah. I should have asked you guys. Like, you know a mnemonic for this? She would have got up and went nuts. Breakfast at 7. All right. Anyway, so we got. Make sure you know the breakdown. Okay. This right here is not a vertebrae. I don't have this on the list, but if you guys want to know, it's called the hyoid bone. It's right where your Adam's apple is. Okay. This is like a midnight snack. Like, okay. All right, good. So we got that. Let's go here. Funny bone, humerus. Yes? Everybody got to know that one. My forearm bones, we said thumb side radius, pinky side, ulna, forearm. Carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. We got them. We went through them before. Make sure you know that. That's important. Good. Now, the clavicles, scapula. Okay, let's do the hips, right? Shakira, right over here. This is called the coxal bone. These are two bones, right, that articulate and they meet at the pubic symphysis. You guys see this piece of cartilage? Fibrocartilage, known as the pubic symphysis. This is the joint space that connects the two coxal bones. You gotta know. The three fused bones that make up the hip. Ilium, look at my hand, ilium. This is the pubis bone. And then the one right here, where the chair meets the bone or the bone meets the chair, is known as the ischium. All of you right now are sitting here. Ischium is touching the chair. Unless you sit on the chair I showed you before. Your ischium, your pubis, your entire body is... anyways, okay. And then obviously, we got a little opening here. This right here, the socket opening. Acetabellum, right? So that is where the head of, look, check this out. So this right here, my femur, this is the head of the femur, right? It's a ball and socket joint, right? It fits like this. This is your hip joint, where people get hip replacements. It's right here, right? So it's known as the acetabellum. This is your femur. We got that, right? Femur. This guy is so crooked. Okay, here we go. Femur. Patella, your kneecap. Your shin bone, known as the tibia. This right here is the fibula. This is one of your tarsal bones, the heel, also known as the calcaneus. But make sure you know the calcaneus. I'm asking you to know 1 out of the 7, right? So this is the heel bone. These are tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. Now let me tell you, you guys can shut off the camera. That's all you